start our meeting. It's 6 o'clock. I'll call the Administration and Finance Committee to order. All 5 members are present, and we have one matter for discussion or action. That's recommendations regarding the total benefit package and employee benefit committee from the Employee Benefit Committee. Ms. Grill.
At our last meeting of the Employee Benefit Committee, there was a recommendation to send the package that we've been working on for over the last year to the Administration and Finance Committee and Common Council with the recommendations that we had worked through. I've been before this committee a few times giving you updates on that. So I think the best way to go through this now would be just to go through possibly this chart. It's the easiest rather than going through the policies. There's one thing I need to bring up in the policies, but as far as just the detail, it would probably be best to go through this chart unless anyone has any other suggestions.
Please, go ahead.
Okay, so the chart, there's 3 columns. There's the first column is the legacy, the current employee. The middle is the total benefit package for a current employee who chooses to convert. And the third column is for a new employee who would start on or after the effective date of the policy should the council choose to adopt. So to start with, the total benefit package that was developed by the committee, there's a choice for current employees whether they want to choose to participate or not. That would be something that, depending upon when the council passes, we would give them a period of time to make that decision, hopefully by January 1st, so we could make the changes for the calendar year. So just with that said, there's different topics. The compensation, there's no change to that as part of the package. Insurance, as far as premium shares, that is currently it's 10 and 20% for most employees. That doesn't change unless there's an annual adjustment by the council. That would be something that you would be before you in the next couple of months. Then for the retiree health care, the years of service. So many employees who started before 4108 have to have 10 years of continuous service to be eligible for retiree health care. People that started after 4108 or different dates depending upon where they were represented, or if they're represented, they had to have 15 years of service. So for a current employee that chooses to convert to the total benefit package, they would have to have 15 years of continuous service. For a new employee, it would be 20 years of continuous service with the City of West Allis. And if the city provides retiree health insurance, which is always an option, it's not a requirement, people hired before 4108 have coverage for life for themselves and their dependents. After the 4108 date, the coverage ceases upon Medicare eligibility. So for the total benefit package, if someone chooses to convert, the coverage ceases after 10 years or when they become eligible for retiree, or when they become eligible for Medicare, Medicaid, Title 19. That is the same for a new employee. Retirees, however, are able to remain on if the city's Medicare offering, if the city chooses to provide that, but it would be at their full cost. The benefit levels, all of the benefit levels for people that retired after 2013 basically roll with the actives, so that wouldn't change at this point. The rate calculation and COBRA. So right now there's a formula that's based on a percentage with a capped contribution at the time of retirement. The recommendation for people moving to the total benefit package is if they had retiree health care for life, that they would have a 20% contribution, For people that only had it till Medicare eligibility, they would have a 35% contribution, and then for new employees, there would be a minimum of 50% that they would have to contribute, but that would be decided upon annually by the council. There would be a credit for sick leave. With this program, there's a time off bank, and that's on the other side of this page, but there's a time off bank with an extended sick leave bank. So people that have 680 hours in their sick leave bank and they retire with that amount would be eligible for active rates for 3 years after they retire. That would be for both current employees and new employees that choose to convert. The spouse and dependent coverage is the same as the employee or retiree insurance. Something that's new for all employees is that there's only one plan per family. So if someone's married to another employee, they're only eligible for one healthcare plan or one dental plan. Dental insurance, right now it's 6 months before you are eligible for dental insurance. The recommendation for the total benefit package is that you would be eligible for dental insurance after 30 days with the city. That's similar to when we start providing health care. For vision, there's a recommendation to have an optional vision plan for employees. This would be something that the employees would pay for the total premium share themselves, but it would give some benefits like $150 per family member for glasses and things like that. We currently don't have coverage for glasses or contacts and things like that. New for all employees would be the addition of a long-term disability insurance policy. Right now, we don't have any long-term or short-term disability policies. We do have some employees on a long-term sick leave that they could be eligible for up to 52 weeks of time off, but that was eliminated for people that started, I believe it's in 1996 or 97. So I think there's 136 people that are still on that policy right now, but the rest of the employees earn and accrue their sick leave up to 2,080 hours. So disability insurance provides salary, 66% of their salary after 90 days of disability. That's 90 calendar days or 65 days of work days. There's no change to the life insurance. Voluntary time off. Right now, someone can request time off for, I believe it's 30 days. We're going to be changing that to up to 40 hours per year. The armed services training doesn't change, jury duty doesn't change, pension remains the same. Tuition reimbursement, recommended change that there would be 50% up to $1,500 a year with a max per employee of $4,500, expanding that to seminars, conferences, and certificates. And then that's the same for both the current employee and the new employee. Tuition repayment, providing $75 a month or up to $900 per year, max of employee to $2,700 for those employees that have student loans. The next page has the time off benefits. Like I mentioned previously, there's an extended sick leave bank, but there's also a time off bank. So in the first column, you see the legacy plan that has the vacation and the sick leave separately. So going with someone who has 1 year of service, they are eligible for 10 days of vacation after 1 year of service, and then people hired after 1/1/96 accrue 15 days per year. So with the time off, with the total benefit package and the time off bank, the vacation and the sick leave is combined along with the random holidays. So there's more time off that employees receive in their time off bank. So someone who's here for 1 year would start with 25 days off. That's the same for both the existing employees that choose to convert and the new employees. Additionally, with the total benefit package, there's an attendance incentive. If that's not the right thing, the attendance incentive is if someone calls in less than 2 times or less than 2 times per year without 48 hours notice, they would get an extra day off. That would be the incentive. I have the extended sick leave incentive here listed. That's incorrect. The extended sick leave bank that's included with the time off bank is eligible for not only the employees' FMLA events, it's also for their family members. Right now our sick leave can only be used for employees. Lateral benefits, providing credit for people that have come to the city with relevant experience to their current position. They would be given credit on a 2-for-1 basis up to 10 years for that experience. That means they would be placed, if someone had 20 years of experience and they came here, they would be placed in the 10-year time off bank level. So then they would be getting 30 days instead of the 25. Holidays, the recommendation is to change this is for all employees, the recommendation is to change one of the random holidays. Currently we have 8 scheduled holidays and 4 random holidays. The recommendation is to change one of the random holidays to a scheduled holiday for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So then people would have 9 paid holidays, and for those in the total benefit package, the random holidays are included in the time off bank. There's no additional days off. Bereavement leave. So right now we have funeral leave where it's up to 5 days for a spouse, child, 3 days for brother, sister, 1 day for grandparents, grandchildren. The recommendation is to give true bereavement leave where it would be up to 10 days for the loss of a spouse, a child, 5 days for death of brother, mother, sister, father. Recognize step and in-law relationships. This gives people the ability to have time off additional for dealing with events beyond funerals. And then donation of time. Right now, employees are eligible to receive 80 hours of donated time from other employees, and then another additional 80 hours. With my approval, this is changing to the initial time to be 120 hours, and then just an additional 40 hours after that. So those are the different components of the plan. Some highlights that aren't in here would be the elected officials. There's a recommendation with the elective offices which commence in 2019 or 2020 to have the elected officials pay based on their FTE, which would be a 0.5 for alderpersons, and I believe it's 0.75 for the judge, which is similar to employees. Then the other item was for the dispatchers, and I needed to highlight. It's under, in the holiday pay, but, so that's the last policy that I gave you. Right now, people in the communication center, they could either choose to be paid at straight time for 13 holidays, or they may take 13 holidays. So, because, and that includes the scheduled holidays and the random, because with the total benefit package, the random holidays are included in your time off. I had thought that I would suggest that we would have it listed that they would just be able to pick 10 holidays or to be paid or take. I don't know, recognizing that the random holidays are already in their time off. Alternatively, we could give them the option to take, to be paid for 13 holidays, but then we should remove 32 hours from their time off bank, because those hours are included. So that would be a little more administratively challenging. It wouldn't be insurmountable, but I don't know what the thoughts are on that, and I probably didn't explain it that well. But so those are some of the highlights that aren't in this package. So I don't know if there's any questions you had at this point.
Yeah, it's a lot. Very comprehensive. Any questions from the committee? Okay. So I'll start with one, and again, the proposal as it pertains to the Common Council's health insurance benefits would be that our current council members would still maintain the status quo. It would affect only future council members. Is that correct under the proposal?
No, under the proposal, it's written in the way that anyone who's elected, whose terms start in 2019 or 2020, that's when it takes effect.
So affect the entire council as of 2019 or
Right.
2020. Okay.
Which is a little different than we're doing with employees. We're giving them options. So.
Okay.
Sure.
Alderman Chabowski.
Just on that point, you can't, elected officials can't get raises or more benefits while they're in office. You can do it until next time. That's why it's starting that time. But on the, you said the 2019, yeah, I suppose it's okay. But it's an existing term. It's okay. I would think that it all would go to 2020, but it doesn't matter, I suppose.
Certainly, that's something you could do. The judge is elected in 2019, so then it wouldn't affect his office until the following.
It takes effect the day he gets sworn in for the new term. It's just like it would take effect
Right.
for us the day we get sworn in for the new term.
Right.
Yeah. Because we're new hires, essentially every 4 years.
And of course, Mr. Chair,
Sure.
there is an aldermanic seat in the second district that's up for election.
Oh, that's right.
2019.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
It's term.
Yes.
And that's what I was bringing up, because it's basically it's coming in the mid of you're coming into a term that, taking a term of a former alderperson. So would all of them start at 20, or would you want to do just that one at 19, or, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But I mean, I see it. I don't think it's going to screw anything up or not. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm getting
Yeah,
at?
I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're getting at.
So, because I don't know how they look at a term. If that's not a new term. The current term goes to 20. So
Alderman Barzak.
Just point of order, I don't know how many council members and if, I would be affected. So if it changed in 1919, I'm on Medicare Part A, I would not have ample time to go into Medicare Part B, and to get a supplement. So literally I'd be without insurance for an entire year with, with nothing, but unless it went, to the end of the term.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Alderman May.
It would go to the end of your term, so 2020.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, that's not the way I understood it. I understood it's gonna change in 1919.
Only for
might-
those out for election in 19.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, that's the term that I'm not picking up on.
sure.
So I'll acknowledge it's kind of selfish that the first question I had was regarding our health benefits, when this is a whole thing about all of our employees that affects them more so. I would add that the total benefit package seems like a very good deal for our employees. Very fair. Our employees are given the option of maintaining the status quo or going on board with the total benefit package. We aren't forcing folks into one plan. This is how it's going to be. You can, if you like it how it is now, you can stay with how it is now.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Rebecca, so has all of this public? How much of our staff has seen all this? Or is this the day, because I've seen this before, I haven't been to some of the committee meetings. Has this all been public, or is this the debut here for folks?
Oh, I've met
You've met with department heads and all sorts
and
of staff?
departments
Yeah,
and
yeah.
one-on-ones, and I've gone to various department meetings and things like that. Tried to be as responsive as my time permits.
Because no one's called me to say that they think this is egregious. I think the point that Alderman Haas makes is, our employees can choose to keep what we've offered in the past, but we're trying to corral them into one plan that's simpler but different, and they can take it or they can stay with what they've had, or they can come on board with a new plan. So, I'd like to applaud the committee for the work they've done on this. I know it's been a tough slog for the alderpersons as well as the other department heads and everybody that's been working on it. This is distilled down to, even here, it's a lot of data just on this big sheet in pretty small print, but there's reams of it, yes. Yeah, so.
All right. Any further discussion? Alderman Chaplesky.
Oh.
You look like it.
Well, the whole reason why we're doing this is that, I don't know if you remember, we had 3 consultants come in front of us that said, your retiree health insurance is killing you. And so that's what started all this stuff. And so that's what started, and we looked at everything else, and hopefully there's something that's good here. And I just have to say, well, I'll speak for myself, is that the staff and on the committee did a heck of a lot more work than, they just threw all the stuff at us and asked me what we thought.
Yeah.
I wasn't digging around in figures and stuff like that, like they were, so they did a tremendous job.
We tried not to throw it too hard.
I think Gary wants to-
Oh, yeah, thank you, Gary.
One more comment, I think, with the committee that put it together. My understanding from Rebecca is that they were looking at it a way in the future to be more competitive with other municipalities, with other outside agencies, to bring people into the city of West Allis, and we were lacking in some of the areas with some of the benefits. And my belief is that we have enhanced the program to make it more competitive to the other municipalities and elsewhere. And correct me if I'm wrong on that, Rebecca, but I believe that was part of the
Correct.
equation.
That's very correct. Right now, the job market is increasingly difficult to get qualified applicants, and so a lot of times we're stealing from other municipalities. So if we can make our benefits a little bit better than those, then we might have an edge. But to Alderman Chaplesky's point, the OPEB liability was a significant concern. So when we sat down, we tried to provide the same but better benefits at the same or lower or reduced costs. I think that was the, so that was the goal of the committee. So some of the current employees might not feel this is a better plan because the retiree health care ends at Medicare eligibility or after 10 years, because currently there's for life for them and their dependents, which recognize that we have $141 or $47 million OPEB liability that it demonstrates that benefit, and that's not sustainable for the taxpayers and for the city going forward. So when we had a lot of discussion about how long we should provide the retiree health care multiple times. And we looked at our comparables, and so this is competitive with the other municipalities in regards to that.
Great. Any further discussion? All right.
Well, I was going to.
Alderman Vitale.
So maybe my throat is so sore from the last speech that I made, you know. But the fact is, like I said, the whole package, just one of them, I don't agree with that. But the rest of them, I think, like Rebecca says, to attract better employees on and on. I think that's great, you know, and I don't see any objections on that. But I'd like to touch a little bit on the aldermanic positions, you know. The fact stands that you run for office, and I understand it's classified as part-time job. There's sometime I'm thinking about, well, Milwaukee, you know, it's a bigger community, it's a bigger district for each alderman. So it's a full-time job. They make it nearly close to 80,000 with full benefits. They get free vehicles for any complaints or any conference they go to. I mean, that's all free. So they cover bigger areas, you know. So we, as aldermen, to me, like I said before, it's a prestigious job. It's a privilege for any of us to have this job. I mean, that's what I felt for the last 30 years. I felt that way. To me, the extra benefits that we've been getting, we never get $15,000, $20,000 a year, we're not. But we get the benefits of the health insurance, which to me attract any candidate they want to run for the job. And I believe that's a job that we are on call at any time, like I said before. People, complaints, anything happens within this community of these structures. People, I mean, I like to use the term bitching at us. So I don't care what anybody says. Still, you are the main source of anything that happens within this community. And to me, for someone to propose the changes with the aldermanic package, if I was making $20,000 a year, then I would say, well, that's proper to do that. But we're not. You make a really call them a part-time job. That's a minimum wages we get it, really. It's not. My tie costs more sometimes what I get in 2 weeks. Really. That's how I put it. So, to me, I mean, I feel, talk for myself, and for the entire council. To me, that's like Don herself, we can say Green Bay maybe they don't have such benefits. But they make more money than we are. So they're 100,000, I believe, in populations. But I feel strong for us to go through these changes. To me, it's not very logical, really. My own feeling that I have about it. So whatever the decision will be, comes in the common council for, we will determine that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Alderman Vitale. And of course, we're not voting on this right now.
No,
This is
no,
just a
we're not.
point of discussion, just like you had said, Alderman Vitale. Alderman May.
Sure. I do want to point out we do have an aldermanic survey of other communities. Appleton, Brookfield, Eau Claire, Janesville, Fond du Lac, La Crosse, Oshkosh, Racine, Sheboygan, Waukesha, and Wauwatosa. None of them get health insurance or dental insurance, and they make quite a few of these make right around what we make for salary in terms of just dollar amount. The only one in this list that they also would pay 50% of the premium, which is what this proposal is Green Bay. And the only one with a better one right now is Kenosha. They pay 100%. So, these other elder people work just as hard. It's a cost per citizen is listed out on this sheet, and when you take a look at it, I think it's a pretty good benefit to be able to still get the 50% if you look at these other communities. So I think the idea and the mission of this is that the elder people would get the same as or less than in terms of the benefits. So obviously we don't get sick time and stuff like that. But health insurance, if you're a 0.5 FTE, you pay 50%. And so we're trying to bring the older people in line with all the other staff members who are only part-time on our staff. And I think that was the general idea, is get us all in the same playing field. We're no better than another half-time employee, and they have to pay half their premium share as well. So that's where we were coming from. Is we want to make sure we're getting no more than what the employees were getting. The rest of the employees, I should say. We're all employees.
Mr. Chair, I don't
Alderman
think the
Vitale.
issue is we're better than other part-time employees. I think that's the case here. But the fact you gotta look at some of the communities, they have a 60 and older persons. Some communities they have more, and their size of the city is a lot smaller than us. So whether I don't know how much they pay for, but I think I see that. So to me, I mean, really, you can start comparing, what the aldermen really, what benefits they get. It's based on the community. So this community was been like that for a long time. We've done some changes throughout the years and tried to save money. We didn't get no raises for quite a while, which to me that's fine. I don't look for any raises at all, but I don't. But I always felt strong about the thing that's what the older men are getting. I think it's something appropriate for the time that I believe I spent. Even though, like I said, it's specified as part-time basis, but still I feel we are on a 24 hours clock. Thank you.
Any further discussion before we adjourn? All right, then can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.